So I've been playing a bit of Battlefield the other day, and I came across an article. Now, this doesn't really help what's going on with Battlefield, and it just goes to show that political correctness and political agenda and all that sort of bullshit don't really go together with games. And I think the best thing you could do is just leave it out of it and just continue making good, fun games that we'll enjoy. So there was an article showing up some sales about Battlefield 5, how it fared versus, some of the old titles. It went all the way back to 2010. When Bad Company 2 came out, and I gotta say I was pretty shocked about the results. To be honest, I was expecting it to do fairly bad because there was too much controversy and all that sort of crap, but not really expecting it to do that bad. So when it comes to actual sales figures for the first week of the physical sort of sales, it's not really that great. So it comes down to this. So Battlefield 3, obviously a good game, 4.68 million. Battlefield 1, 2.8. Battlefield 4, 2.72. Battlefield Hardline, 1.51. Battlefield 5, 1.40. Battlefield Bad Company 2, 1.39. So more or less, it's pretty much the same as that. So if you go back to 2010, for a game to perform almost as good as Battlefield 5 does in 2019, it's a 9-year gap difference. That's a lot of difference in those two games. Plus, back in those days, I was there. I was making videos on Bad Company 2, and I was posting them on YouTube. It just wasn't that popular. With the success of Bad Company 2 and the huge hit the Battlefield 3 was, that's when really Battlefield got into the sort of mainstream, and everybody knows about it, and everybody started playing it. And it was just difficult to record back in those days. I mean, back in 2010, it was so complicated for you to have sort of recording software. There wasn't shadow play. There wasn't things that lets you sort of record press two buttons and record the last 20 minutes of your gameplay. It was expensive and it was fairly complicated. Nowadays, it's just easier for you to press a few buttons. Most of the graphic cards and everything that you buy come with some sort of software for you to record and highlights, and it's just much easier today. But to show that it actually performed worse than a Battlefield 4 mod, which basically that's what Battlefield Hardline was, but they tried to sort of pass it out as a full game. Even that sold better than Battlefield 5 did in the first week. So are you really surprised that that's the case? I mean, I think when it comes to it, like I said, politics and games don't really go together like peas and carrots. You should just leave that out of it. When it doesn't matter if you're a CEO and you're trying to prove a point, or maybe you're trying to show that you have the power to do something. I mean, it kind of makes me go back to, I can't remember his name now. Was it Patrick, or was it the other guy that said, well, my daughter asked me why couldn't she play as a soldier, as a woman soldier on the front lines, and she's 13, she plays Fortnite. Well, the easiest way would have been for you to tell her the truth. To say, well, while there were women in the war, most of them were at home on the home front picking up the slack that the men left behind. They worked in factory, they produced ammunition, they worked all sorts of jobs, they were involved in the war. There was women in French resistance, there were women snipers in the Red Army, there were women fighter pilots, there were women in the war, but on the front lines, not so much. It would have been much easier for you to try to explain that to your girl rather than say, you know what, that's not right. If I can pressure somebody into putting a black Nazi sniper woman on the front lines, I can do that because I'm the CEO and I can pressure somebody into doing so. It's not really how it works. I mean, if you wanted to make an alternative World War II version of the game, which most of it is anyway, because most of the stories and the war stories are pure fabrication. A lot of it is all bullshit. We've seen a Tiger in 1941. A lot of it, I mean, if you really wanted to do it right, you would have done it right. But otherwise, you'd have just stayed away from it, tell her the truth, and that would have been much better for everybody else. It certainly doesn't really help that you're mocking your fans and you're telling them not to buy the game because you're uneducated and you're not getting that sense of pride and accomplishment, for spending the money onto it. So that's kind of the way it is. So I don't know, to me it feels really weird for somebody who's been playing this game for as long as I have, and I have thousands and thousands of hours in every single game that came out since it first launched. It just, I don't understand this new direction. I don't understand this new way of doing things and sort of the lack of content and everything else that's been happening in the game, all the controversy, all the sort of bugs in the company coin. I think the company coin got fixed now, but microtransactions are going to be in pretty soon. that's going to create more controversy. You know, we had the same thing with the loot boxes in Battlefront 2. That was a whole thing where you're working hard for a bit of sense of pride and accomplishment, and you didn't really get that pride and accomplishment when you spent 40 hours, but it would have been much easier for you to just buy the fucking thing, because why not, right? So, I don't know. For somebody like me that it's been playing this game for all these years since he first got launched back in 2002, it's just really weird for me to understand the direction they're going into and what's causing all this sort of crap that doesn't really need to be in games. It just needs to be a good, fun game that we can enjoy. So that's pretty much it for me for today. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. You'll have to let me know in the comments some of your thoughts. What do you think? What's all this going on? And is this a good direction for them to go? Or should they just leave DICE to it? Hopefully enjoy the video. I'll see you in the next one.